left off last night working on this front elevation, and I'm trying, oh, you don't see what I'm seeing, sorry. So left off on this house with this elevation, and I'm trying to recreate something. Let me see if I can share just this picture. Oops. So I'm trying to recreate similar to this elevation here. So we have the shed over this roof, and then it's also now a shed from this one. I'm gonna have to manually manipulate it, obviously, but I think we're sort of getting there. It's not perfect though, by any means. So I'm just gonna change this material first. I already did a little bit off camera, so I have a flat roof here. I grew these windows. I can even grow them a little bit bigger, but I don't think I'm going to. Inside, it was a vaulted ceiling, and it still can be, but not to the center anymore. Now it has to vault up to this wall. But I want those windows to be functioning windows. For the more modern style, I'm going to get rid of the lights that are in this window. Have it be a little bit more clean looking. Also going to pull this light to be the same distance or close to as the other one. So I'm just dragging it over. This being just a plain gable, I'm not loving that look. I want to kind of have the more modern function throughout. So instead, I'm gonna have it mimic this shed roof style forward, which I do like better, but that's a bit steep. So I'm going to open this wall up. And we're gonna pull the roof down just a little bit. It was a 5, I'm making it a 4. Excuse me. And that does pull it down just a little, so it's not quite as in your face, which I like. Now I like to let Auto Roof do most of it for me, and then I transition to manually manipulating it. So I'm going to have to do that with this roof line because it needs to come straight all the way out, as well as this roof line. I'm going to have it come over here and bump this wall instead of doing what it's doing. So if I like the rest of it though, I just kind of want to look and see if I like the looks of the rest of that front elevation, which I think I do. I do want to get rid of this guy again. Well, not rid of it. I just want to get rid of the lights that's in it. It's also a little, guess it's not too bad. Now, because this one is now a flat roof, I'm going to pull it back up. It was sitting at 9 feet. I'm gonna have it back at 10. Let it do that. And then I'm just gonna raise these 3 windows because they're no longer cooperating. So I'm just gonna go up 12 inches. Okay. Now you can see that this is now, there's walls hitting in between both of these. So I'm going to have to make each one just a little bit skinnier. That's fine. So we're gonna go 24s. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna go up a floor. And I'm just gonna make sure that they're only 6 inches apart here. And then coming back. Okay. And I'm just gonna make sure it's still centered on the front door. Now, when I did that, this transom is still just kind of in the way. So I'm going to try to see if I can get it underneath that roof line, or I may have to raise it another 6 inches. So I'm making it only 12 inches tall here. But you can see it's just barely under there. It's a little closer than I like for my comfort. I'm gonna make this one also only 12 inches tall. But you can see when I did that, it pulled it up instead of staying at the same spot. So I have to adjust that. And in this room, I'm going to raise the ceiling by 6 inches. So. I'll just bump it up a little. So this is another instance where it's trying to figure out what I want. That's not what I want. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm just going to manually raise that roof line instead. Just when I turn off auto roofs. Now it doesn't look like this room. It says it's 10-foot ceiling height, but it just seems a little tall. Okay, so I think we've gotten as far as we can with auto roofs. And now we're going to have to manually adjust. So what I do is I click and I drag. And it's going to be like, oh no, but that turns off auto roofs. And I go, yeah, I know. I'm going to change the rendering technique while I'm doing this, just so it's a little bit faster. I don't need it to look as realistic just when I'm manipulating roof lines like this. So pull that one back. I'm going to pull this one straight over like this. And this one I also want to pull straight over. So I'm going to flush it out like this. And try dragging it all the way over here. And that's creating this kind of funky cricket, which we can try to eliminate by pulling, oops. They may just have to put a cricket in right there, but I'm gonna drag this plane up with, I'm hoping that it won't kind of cut into it too much, but I never really know until I do it. So yeah, like it's kind of trying to cut into it here. Just not ideal. Because it's creating this little triangle right here, which is what I was hoping to avoid. Drag this wall all the way over till it meets. And so this one's gonna have to pull down. This one isn't necessary the way it is, like at all. And this whole thing can just be lower. Just this whole one. So it's creating a cricket so that I can still get the water out of there. And then I need this to match up kind of with this roof line. So we're going to attempt to join them. So now when you're looking at it, if water came, if it's raining, water would come down, flow off that way. Flow, flow, flow. Everywhere it's flowing away and it's not getting caught. This one little spot is where I am not loving it. Because it's kind of like we don't get it to go flat across. It kind of has to just go to here and then meet up with that roof plane. And I don't see much way around that. But we'll see how that looks because it may not be that big of a deal. But you can see it's not going level. Well, you can kind of see it. So when I come to the roof, this is a flat plane. This is that other roof that we're looking at. but the planes aren't meeting up. So we're gonna pull it forward until it's flush here. And I also need to cut it here. Pull it back. And this is that small kind of cricket one. So I'm gonna pull it to be flush with that wall. Let's see what that looks like. I mean, that's not my favorite. I'm gonna have to cut it because it's trying to react in a way that is not what I'm wanting. I also don't like how this is cutting right here. So if I come back to this guy, it's because of these. First of all, I want it straight. And then I also want to see walls. So I'm gonna go F9, and instead of the roof plan for our reference, I just want it to be working plan for a second. No working layer set, first floor. Okay. So if I turn it on, you can kind of see the walls here now. So I'm going to cut this roof plane at this exterior wall and pull it back so that it's not chopping it. When I come back to here, that's this little chopped bit, and that pulls that one back. And same with this big guy. Cut it right here on this wall and drag it back. Now the auto roofs are not. I have, okay. And then I also have to manipulate this existing roof. So we're gonna get it straight. And then I need a little bit of an overhang on this side. So like 12 inches. Okay, so here's all that roof line. Sometimes I will just try to put a really big corner board to cover when you've got kind of some like weirdness going on. So I'm gonna put one here. And it's not even populating it. This one did. So this one I'm going to make like 8 inches wide to cover that. And there it did. And then this one, not even sure what that wall is. See if I can get another corner board there though. And it's not cooperating. As far as the roof goes though, when I manually manipulate roof planes, you want to go through and make sure that they all still connect. You see that one is pulled way too far over. Pull it back. And I'm gonna try angle it slightly, see if it's able to connect. Normally when I do this, it will. Yeah, it's saying I can't connect them, so, okay. And this roof line got kind of wonky. You can see. So we can need to adjust that too. I just want it going straight. Just like that. Oh, and that is probably why the corner board is not functioning. So I drag this out to match that corner wall. Drag this one straight down, and then I'll try to match them. It's not really wanting to. So they're currently at the same level, which is interesting. I'm gonna try and raise it here. I don't like what that's gonna do. Okay, so we'll just leave it, although this is very close. Instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower this down and basically make it a mold unit. So no sill. Let that pull down. And then both of these windows, I'm gonna put casing back on this one. So that it can try and fill all that space. And you can select, well, first I need to get this black. And then I'll mold those two. Which is right here. You're molding them together. Okay, it has to be raised just a touch. It says it can't overlap, which I think is what it's doing. Yep. Try this again. There we go. Molding them together. Okay, I'm going to, just going to delete this wall. I don't like it. And see if I can get this one to auto-populate in that little hole. Okay, so there it auto-populated. Still don't really like it, but it is what it is. See if I try to drag it more this way. It's just gonna act kind of funky. Yeah, it did a little bit, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. paint the soffit like iron ore, which is a Sherwin-Williams color. And I'm going to replace current soffit with it. And I'm going to try to get that corner board again. See, it's just not wanting to. Sometimes if I go working plan, see, it's saying that there is one there, but it's on the lower level, and this one is on the upper level. So I'm going to copy and paste this one. And for some reason, there just isn't a wall here for it to auto-populate on, which is interesting. So we're gonna put one right here where this wall is. I didn't mean for it to do that. So I'm gonna select it. Wall type, it's an attic wall. So it hopefully won't act all funky on us. Just line it up with the wall below. Make sure it says it's lined up with the wall below. Same with this one. And then try for a corner board again. And that time it looks like it did it. Nope, still didn't do it. Let's try again. You can see that little, it's hard to tell, but on the roof there's a little tiny triangle showing, or not a triangle, a little L, and that is trying to say that it is there, but it's not working. So I think this is the one that's down below. See if I can select it and just drag it up. I don't know what that just did. I don't like it. Let's just start copy and pasting this one, see if that does it. There we go. See, it says it's there, but I don't see it. And if I go into this working plan view, again, says it's there. Actually says there's two there, but it's not. So I'm going to open it. Thickness is 8. It's at the bottom, it's at the top. I may have to just pull the roof back a bit. Well, not like that. And see, there it is. And it's just stopping at the roof line. So one of these is intersecting, and I believe it's this one. So I'm going to pull it back, like so. And then connect it. Still just didn't fix it. If anything, it made this worse. So I'm going to undo all of that. And I'm just going to use a 3D solid because it doesn't know. Being a bit of a stickler. So undid it, and I'm just going to put it as a rectangular 3D solid here that is 8 inches wide by 8 inches long. And we're going to point to point move it. And then I'm going to convert it to a 3D solid. And I'm going to say it's like height is 190. Okay. So if I go back to full overview, wasn't quite tall enough. That's okay. So I click this one, drag it up, copy this one, which is just the paint color, and I manually did it because it was being a butthead. Now the transitions in materials here is kind of interesting, and not interesting in a good way. So I'm going to change this stone first off. So I don't know why it auto did that stone. When I moved from the previous revision, I moved a wall and it created some funkiness going on here. So we're just going to delete that. And we need to drag this wall to be filling that whole space. I'm gonna go 3D rendering technique, ray trace. And then dragging corner boards. I want a little bit more stucco, maybe. So I think I might do this little bump out is also stucco. We'll see. How does it look? Now, one other thing as I'm looking at this is a pretty sharp angle. I think that's way sharper than I want it to be. So I'm going to open that roof plane. I'm going to make sure the baseline's still locked, and I'm going to lower it. Here's a 4. So it'll just boop down a little bit. Still seems pretty steep, but could just also be the angle I'm currently looking at it at. All right. Well, it's sort of a little bit more like the inspiration. So final is I need a roof plane that's sitting on top of this. Also, I'm just going to paint both of these black. These little corbels sticking out there. And I'm gonna open one of them up to find out how tall those corbels ended up being. And the finished floor to the top, I'm gonna copy that number. And then I'm gonna go back to the roof plan. Zoom out, come over here. And I'm just gonna put a small little roof plane. Like really small. I'm gonna go can't see where the wall is very well. But I can see where that is. So I'm gonna just actually, I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna delete that. Try this again. I'm gonna go from the center here, pull it back to here. Should be where the wall is. Dragging it out 18 inches. Open it, lock the pitch, and change the fascia to what it was, what the top of that post guys were. And that should put a roof line, so a little eyebrow on top. Close. Needs to go down like 3 inches. So we'll lock that again and we'll just go -3. And then boop, let it come down. All right, if I go back, one final thing you want to adjust. This light looks like it's off skew, so I'm just going to pull it over to the side. This one, I don't even know that I want there. It's a bit much, but just let that one drag over. Okay. So I'm going to send this updated roof line and see if they like it. The only thing in this that they maybe wanted was a window seat in the front bedroom. We will play with that later. One final thing is the drive is no longer reaching the front of the house, so I have to drag it on back. And we're gonna drag this one back too. Re-render. And there we go. Can maybe make these windows a little bit taller. After all, it's vaulted in there. Can't make them wider, but I can make them taller. It's maybe a little too tall. Pull it back. Not too bad. Shed. Just says shed. I'm gonna save it. Shed roof front elevation. Okay, let it export. Now, I did notice right here, I don't like whatever this is doing, so I'm going to pop some black on it. There we go. And I'm going to re-export that. Oh, and I didn't notice that I hadn't shifted all of this to be stucco, so I gotta correct that. Okay, we're gonna export it again. All right, so that is pretty much that alteration in a nutshell. We previously did revisions that affected the outside, but like I said, when in doubt, use auto roof to your advantage and then just manipulate it from there. I find that to be the easiest, especially when you get more complex roofs, because you can, if it's all at a bunch of varying heights and then it's not all matching up, and it can be a little difficult to get it to cooperate. But I found that this way is the best that works for me. So I'm going to finish, and I'll catch you on the next one.